because man's task is to make the earth after the model of heaven. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Man's project is to heavenize the earth. Man is made to transform the world from glory to glory, to take hold of it and break it down and remake it after the image of heaven.
Welcome back to the Reformed Reset, part of Take Hold Studios. My name is Grant, and joined with me is my beautiful wife, Erica, the weaker vessel.
Hello, everyone.
If you guys would, please, right now, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified every time we release new content. Look in the description below for our website, our email address, all the social media links, and that sort of thing so you can follow and connect with us. And also, if you want to financially support us and be a part of our new monthly Q&A episode, you can go to Patreon, and there's a link in the description as well. And for $5 a month, you can become a patron and submit your questions to us, and then those questions are going to be used to be on a Q&A episode every month. So we're going to take only patron questions for Q&A episodes. It should be a good time. But if you do that, it helps us keep all this stuff running, and it's just one extra way that we can engage with y'all, the listeners.
Yeah.
And we have a merch store too with some fun things. So if you click the link in the description to the merch store, you can find those things. That helps us out too. And it helps you look awesome. So it's a win-win. And is that it?
I think that's it.
I think that's pretty much it. I am blind on this episode.
Okay, so I had a very good idea. Well, I think it's a good idea.
Which means it probably is.
In honor of Pride Month, because it's June.
Oh, almighty.
I thought it would be kind of fun to do a few episodes on pride, but not like, you know, the kind of pride that we all know and is like being shoved down our throats right now, but like ways that Christians manifest acceptable pride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Kind of a fun idea. So, episode 1, I want to read a verse to you, okay?
Okay.
How's that sound?
It sounds awesome.
I feel like sometimes certain sins are more acceptable than others, you know?
Frequently.
And shouldn't be that way, but
This is true.
often how it is. So, this is from Psalm 12, verses 2 to 4. This is the King James Version.
Very nice.
Because that one's kind of hits different, you know? They speak vanity, every one with his neighbor, with flattering lips and with a double heart do they speak. The Lord shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. Who hath said, with our tongue we will prevail, our lips are our own. Who is Lord over us?
Jeez.
So.
All right.
What is your instant gut reaction to that?
Well, when you do this to me, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with it. And, a lot of times I noticed it in our last podcast that there were many times that we just pick up on where the other person is going, Yeah. Anyway, I think what you're going to get at is the acceptable sin that we often see is man-pleasing, seen in the form of flattering lips. And
vain words.
And vain words. And the passage that first popped in my head, which is something that you quote often around the house and remind the kids of, is that we are, it's Paul's words in Galatians 1.
Okay.
Where he says that we're not to be man-pleasers, and he says, like, if I was
trying to please man.
Yeah, if I was trying to please man, why am I persecuted? But then his encouragement is...
And I'm not pleasing God if I'm trying to please man.
Right. So anyway, that is where my mind has gone.
Yeah.
After you read that.
If you just like do a quick Google search of like the word flattery in scripture, it's never good. Just throwing that out there. It's never good. And we're even told, like, Jesus said, they hate me, so they're going to hate you for sure. And then we're told, and if all men speak well of you, woe to you.
Right.
That means you're doing something very wrong.
Right.
So there's this idea of vain words and well, maybe we should define what flattery actually is, right?
Yeah.
Because flattery is not encouragement, right? We are called to be
That's
an
good.
encouragement to one another.
Even being kind.
Being
right?
kind, tender-hearted.
Fruit of the Spirit.
Gentle. Like, these are things that we're called to be.
And they could easily get confused with flattery.
Yeah, and I think this is probably more prominent in, like, women's circles. I don't know.
Probably a lot. Well,
I don't know, though, because some of those, there's some real big fanboys of, like, you know, certain preachers or whatever.
true.
So, like, you know.
That's true. Men can fall into flattery as well. When
Yes.
we meet somebody that we respect highly or whatever, we can still be tempted to flatter and talk about all the things we like about them and all the things. That's still there.
And not have any shred of, like,
critique.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're just kind of fanboying.
Right. Which is gross.
The air they breathe is
Come on,
flawless. Yeah, it's like simp mode.
The air they breathe is flawless. You know what though? Men fall into this too, even when it's not that. They can still have a form of conversation and language that's meant to achieve the same thing that flattery
Well, and I
is
think
aiming at.
a lot of times the desired outcome of flattery is just manipulation.
Exactly.
It's highly manipulative, and the person who is very good at flattery can garner an audience.
Mm-hmm.
They can garner sympathy. They can invoke emotion. They can make people loyal.
Right.
Right? And if you are a very insecure person, one of the easiest ways to not feel insecure is to flatter people, right?
Yeah.
People, and who doesn't love to have someone tell them how wonderful they are?
Right. How wonderful they look today.
Yeah.
Or whatever they did was
And this
just
doesn't
so
mean
wonderful.
that you can't tell someone, oh, you look really nice today.
Right. This is why it's so sneaky though.
Yes. Because you really have to check the motivations of your heart. Are you trying to manipulate their emotion or trying to manipulate them into like liking you or being loyal to you? Or do you genuinely think they look nice?
Yeah. And this is one of those things that's hard because I'm sitting here imagining a pastor attacking this from the pulpit in a sermon, and it's one of those things where the person who's probably not committing this sin but has a sensitive conscience is actually going to sit there thinking, oh no, am I flattering? And that kind of introspection can go too far, but it's not totally unhelpful. Introspection is not an altogether bad
Well, and
thing.
this is where you ask the Lord, like, is there any wicked way in my heart?
Exactly. But the person who is doing it is probably going to come up to the pastor after the sermon and say, that's the best sermon I've ever heard you preach. But like, they need to hear it too. But it is one of those things where the motive is at the root of it, and it does just take you personally taking responsibility and applying the scriptures to your life.
Right.
Which is good.
And as Christians, we need to make sure that we are not easily manipulated.
Yes,
this
that's
is
good.
where I would just caution everyone. Like, if people come up to you and compliment you, if you are the pastor, or if you are in any kind of position of authority, or maybe you're just an incredibly insecure stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And you feel like your life is falling apart, your house is always messy, and you're just trying to trudge along and honor the Lord. And then there's that one friend of yours who loves to stroke your ego, and it feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels like finally someone's affirming all the work that I'm doing. See, she sees how wonderful I am. Like, there's a trap there too, right? Don't be manipulated.
Well, and it's funny because I could hear someone say like, oh, so you're telling me that I just need to be suspicious of every single person who says something nice to me?
Yeah, actually, kind of.
But at some level, Christians, are told to have discernment. That's a gift of the Spirit.
Well, and at any point you turn off that thing in your brain that's analyzing everything around you, you're in danger. Because Satan can use anything. He can use anything to get you into a bad way. Like, you have to be careful all of the time.
Well, and Satan knows...
You're never safe.
No, right. You, as disinterested as you might be, your enemy is still very, very interested in bringing you down.
Yeah.
And we were just finishing reading The Magician's Nephew with the kids. The very first book in the story, at least story-wise, of Chronicles of Narnia. And Diggory, the boy in it, is being tempted by the witch to eat the fruit that he wasn't supposed to. He had a mission with the fruit. And Lewis is just so great at this, but the witch is using his own mother against him, and she's using right affections, right? He should care about his mother and want her to be well and that sort of thing. And she's trying to tempt him and trick him into doing something and using that against him. And so Christians, I think that was a great picture of how we are to be discerning. Good job. I won't give up the story, I guess, if you haven't read it. But we need to be discerning that even good things like, and I'm a pastor, right? So that's why I keep thinking this, but like encouraging your pastor is a good thing. Complimenting him. Pastors need it. Pastors are constantly thinking, was that helpful? And so when they hear that, it's okay, good.
But this is where I would tell everyone, if you won't rest securely in the finished work of Christ, you won't be hungry for that kind of affirmation. And this is easy for me because I tell young women all the time, if your husband doesn't see you folding your laundry and thank you every single day, which he's not going to probably, that's okay, because you're not ultimately doing it for him. You're doing it for the Lord, and he sees that work, and he's pleased with you if you are joyfully obeying him. We derive a sense of belonging and a sense of security from the Lord.
Right.
So if someone wants to compliment you, that's fine. They may. But it doesn't do anything to you. You know, it doesn't.
It shouldn't be providing something for you that Christ should be providing for you.
That you don't already have.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And that is very dangerous and idolatrous, potentially. Very
much so.
Yeah.
That's why there are so many unhappy marriages or unhappy mothers. It's just such a trap.
I was, thinking about this word encourage that we use all the time. And I can't remember who, I think we were listening to it recently, but even that word encourage is when you're basically filling somebody with courage, but it's sort of the idea of the word encourage is that you are wanting to strengthen somebody in a way that will have them continue to do what they're already doing. And so, flattery and compliments and stuff, like, go back to the pastor thing, right? The idea should be, thank you for, delivering the word for us this morning. And the idea should be, keep it up.
Well, and this is where gratitude also comes into play, because what happens if your pastor's message was off? What happens if it just wasn't his best one? It wasn't heretical, but it just wasn't his best one. Then do you feel like you don't need to encourage him?
Right. He might need more encouragement that day.
And then you just say, but I am very grateful he is here actually serving us.
Right.
And you can still thank him for that. Maybe it wasn't his best sermon, but you can say, thank you for being here and thank you for serving us. You're not flattering him by telling him it was the best sermon, you're so gifted, like laying on vain things.
Yeah, that's those vain words.
But you still are offering encouragement and you're finding a thing to be grateful for. There's a distinction to be made. And then that's not because you're trying to tickle his ears or manipulate him.
Right.
You're just honestly trying to encourage him and be grateful for the thing that he is providing for you.
Yeah, the purpose of your words are for him to be built up, and it's him, not yourself. And and flattery, though, is words that will manipulate that person to benefit yourself in some way.
Yeah.
Somehow the goal is...
So I used to... I'm not going to get into this, but I used to have a friend who was like such a flatterer, and it honestly kind of made me uncomfortable a little bit.
Okay.
But they always found a way, this individual, to be like almost juvenile in their accomplishments, like as if you were like you had a participation ribbon in life or something. Like it made me uncomfortable a lot. And I think because
I don't know who you're talking about. I can't wait till you tell me afterward.
It was like, I'm just so proud of your hard work today. Or just like weird things where it's like, thank you, but like I'm an adult also, It was just, but this was a habit for this individual, and I did actually talk to this person about it, and it didn't go well once. But behind it was a lot of insecurity.
Interesting.
A lot of insecurity. They didn't feel like they belonged. They were looking for safety and security. So as a person, I hope you all are secure in your walk with the Lord. If you notice that someone's a flatterer, that's a great ministry. You could probably pretty safely bet that that person really just is struggling in their walk with the Lord, and you can be an encouragement, not a flatterer to them.
Vain words too in this passage, right, are vanity would be something empty, meaningless, or worthless.
But that's what it is, right? Like, I'm so proud of you, person, but you're just like,
are you though?
First of all, like, we're just friends. You're not my mom. Also, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, or there are other weird ones too. Sorry, I'm just gonna shift in my chair here.
But like, this is more, sometimes you may not be able to pick up on it. And I know we've been talking about being discerning and being suspicious of everyone, laying it on thick for you. This
is the best meal ever.
Yeah, well,
or
kids are so bad.
Most fun day ever.
Hyperbole.
If everything's wonderful and everything's grand and everything's special and everyone's so like, it's just not real. It's vain. Those are not real statements. No, you're out of touch with reality. Yeah, I guess that's my point.
But for the person talking, right? Examine your words. Jesus said that you will give an account for every word that you utter. And so you need to make sure that you're watching out for those vain ones.
Right. So. It's true. And if you notice that your kids are doing it, we have a junior high daughter. And this is a huge trap for women, but even especially in that age group, the vanity, the flattery, because they want friends, they want to belong, they want to fit in. If you see your daughters doing this, or your sons too, but like if you see your kids doing this, correct them.
Yeah.
This is not, we've never let our kids be like, this is my bestest friend ever. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, no, that's a weird flattery. It's a weird vain thing. Like, we don't talk that way.
Well, and so it's accepted today. It's an accepted sin today. You wouldn't go out there and the world accept this, portion of Psalm 12. Our world is one of inclusion, and everyone's just nice. No one disagrees with anyone.
We celebrate everyone.
Everyone has their own truth, and I don't even just accept you. I celebrate you.
Yeah, that's that Romans 1 thing.
Right. And so that's, I think you just look around a little bit and you can see where. And
it's in Christian circles. I mean, how many mommy blogs do we have to see where it's like, my girl crush is this, right? And like, this is who I have a crush on, or like, there's just so many weird things that
it might be worse in the like Big Eva women Christian circle.
It's in Reform circles too, right?
Yeah.
Or like all those selfies where women are like kissing each other on the cheek, or like it's all flattery and weirdness. It's juvenile, like it's just it's weird pride, and it just needs to stop.
Yeah.
This is not a license to be a jerk either, by the way. We're not saying that.
Yeah. Just ensure that your words have meaning to them.
And sometimes that means saying less of them.
Probably more often than not.
More often than not, it means saying less of them.
Right.
Here's just the truth. I know we all think that people really need us in this world. They don't actually, right? Like, you're not that important. The whole world does not need you speaking in on every topic, which is, I mean, we're here talking, so this is kind of funny and ironic. But more often than not, like, this need to like affirm everyone and everything and
all
feel
the time.
And like feel like you're in on every little bit of.
Everyone has a voice that needs to be heard.
It's unnecessary. It really is unnecessary. And where there are many words, there's trouble.
What is that? There's a proverb, right? In the abundance of words, sin is present, or I'm probably butchering it somehow, but that's the gist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the more words.
That's a pride of the heart, that you think everyone just has to have you be there and patting them on the back and rallying them on, you know?
And this is so basic, but like, thou shalt not lie.
Yeah.
I mean, very basic. Apply that command to your life, and these flattery and vain words are going to be put in check.
Well, and oftentimes we don't even do this in like our very immediate area, our homes, that God has commanded us to take dominion over, right? We'll lie to our kids, or we'll let our kids lie to each other or to us or whatever. flattery. We flatter our kids, right?
Yeah. So this just popped in my head. James talks about the tongue, you know? And he says, like, the tongue is this little thing that can start a whole forest fire. And it's funny, we take that imagery and usually we just think, oh, that must just be, you know, rage or something. Or we take this symbolism too far and we just think, oh, that just means you can say a word and it's like, it has a big impact. But really, even with words that are flattery or vain words, they can set on fire your own friends, your own family. You're not doing them good, you're doing them harm when you do that, because you're not speaking truth.
Right.
And so we can even apply the book of James to this, where it says the whole man can be controlled if he can control his tongue.
Right.
So put a bit in it.
And behind the tongue is the heart, right? What comes out of the mouth is actually from the
abundance of the
heart.
heart, the mouth speaks. Yeah.
And so the problem is the heart here. The problem is there is a deep sin in our hearts that needs to be corrected.
Whether it's idolatry or the
insecurity,
lack of faith, right? Because that's what that insecurity is lack in trust in the provisions Christ has given us.
Yeah. And sometimes it stems from some real trauma.
Sure.
Sometimes you really are desperate for a friend.
Yeah.
But this is where you go to the Lord and he is your friend, right? He is your truest friend. And so you look to him for all these things primarily, and he provides what you need. He always does.
Yeah. Well,
but don't sin because you feel like you need something, you know?
Right, well, because then that relationship, whatever you flattered to then get something out of it, it's not real.
Right.
That's meaningless and vain.
Right.
But if you build relationships, build friendships on Christ, on truth, then they're going to be meaningful.
And this person is a caricature, I really feel like, because everyone knows what we're talking about. Everyone knows the person, like I said, usually women, but there are men who are simps as well, who are just like absurd and obnoxious. You know, like the Legally Blonde type, like you just, everything is like a sweet word, everything, and she looks really nice, but oh man, we all know that it's just death.
Yep.
It's death. Or he's death.
Yeah. So.
You know what, actually?
What?
Just a thought real quick.
Yep.
I wonder if, you know, like the love languages thing, like how you, like how you feel love, you often act towards other people. So like if how you feel love is affirmation, but people affirm you, you feel very loved. I wonder if perhaps some of this, as we go through the different kinds of acceptable prides that Christians have, are just different outpourings of how someone feels loved. Maybe this one is like the affirmation. The person who loves to feel affirmed will be tempted to be flattering and affirming of everything. Right. You know?
Like the one who feels loved with words of affirmation is the one who often says words of flattery. Or yeah. Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
Because then we could talk about some other things later on. But like the woman who goes house to house, stirring up trouble.
Right.
Oftentimes those women, well, we can get to different. Sorry.
Okay.
That's another episode. So.
That's another episode for another time.
That's a hypothesis.
Very interesting hypothesis.
Worth investigating.
Yeah. I'm down. Let's do it. All right. But we're good for this one?
Yeah.
All right.
Come back for more acceptable pride episodes.
Come back for more of the popular sins that everyone loves to ignore.
We don't.
But we are trying not to. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, subscribe and like the video. We appreciate it. Comment below and let us know what you think are some acceptable sins in our culture today. But until next time, take hold and reorder creation by first reforming your home. This has been the Reformed Reset.
But on the basis of grace and on the finished work of Jesus Christ, the project is back and forth, and the destiny of a new transformed world is assured.
Just put the sourdough in the oven too, so I've got like 40 minutes.